Welcome back to another Productivity Like a Pro podcast recording today with my dear friend Paco and our members in the chat. And we have a bold statement today with this title saying, don't use Tana.
Paperless Movement, your productivity, your way.
Crazy, right, Paco? How
Yes,
crazy we are. We're crazy people. We all the haters. How can you say something like that? And it's key. Paco and I, we are using Tana. Why shouldn't you use
for more
Tana?
than 2 years. Don't
That's-
use it, please. We will.
Yeah. Well, obviously the title just means don't use Tana if or when or in certain use cases. And that's what we want to tackle today. That's the key here. Because what we saw in many of our previous inner circle cohorts when we have these live coaching sessions, the first thing is I want to switch to Tana. You're using Tana so effectively. So I think that's the best way to go for. And then what we also see is I think in outliners, that's good, right? If you have the outlining thought process, but that's what we want to tackle today because Tana is in many use cases really an overkill for especially for our busy professionals when we go into these sessions and seeing the overall tool stack. The first thing is to focus on the existing tools because after all with iCore we want you to build a perfect productivity system no matter the tools that you use with any tools, and therefore we always try to fix a running system instead of interrupting a running system. So never change a running system. That's what you say. And we also over and over, we have so many successful busy professionals with us in the cohort and obviously also in the membership. Always keep in mind, you're already very successful. You're very productive because you came so far in a business. Sometimes it's the scaling that is the struggles, the feeling that you could actually do more if you wouldn't have the friction. And that's what we are here for. Paco, why do we warn people to use Tana, or do we?
Well, the point is at the end, everybody is free to dedicate their time to whatever they may consider. I wonder many times why does Tana create such a huge hype? Okay, because it's amazing. It's amazing. I think that it's a combination of many things. I think that it's a beautiful tool. I think that it made the outliners friendly. Okay, talking about the graphical user interface instead of just a simple bullet with those vertical lines and that's it. They went one step beyond. No matter that they keep having that minimalistic approach that minimalistic people want and aim to think with clarity at all moments. And I think that that's one of the things related to the recipe that they have been following. It's amazing the community that they have created. I recently watched the Slack channel that they keep to manage their community, and there are more than 20,000 people there. For me, this is insane for a tool that it has the market niche that it has. You know, it's an outliner, no matter that they sell that it's a project management tool, a knowledge management, everything, okay, one tool for everything, okay, but I think that is not an Asana, a ClickUp, or Monday or whatever, talking about project management. And even though they have a community with 20,000 enthusiasts, I think that that's amazing too, because they spread the word, because also those people are pretty enthusiastic. And the point is that little by little, they keep launching new things and new features. Right now, they moved away from the invite approach. Okay, now it's public for everyone. They are launching a paid version, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
wrong,
already
because
there.
that's exactly what I thought too. The moment I
Okay.
saw the announcement, I thought, okay, they're entering a beta phase now, so everybody can join. But people keep reaching out, so I double checked, and it's actually still behind closed doors. You just start paying behind closed doors. So you now have two things: begging for an invite and start paying if you're getting in. Well, that's the thing. If you are on the fence and you want to do this, the best thing to do is go to the Slack community, ask for an invite, and usually you will get an invite within 24 hours from somebody who has an invite in there. That's what our members did. That's what we discussed many times in the membership community as well, and got feedback that this works best. But be aware, when you go in there might be then a paywall, which is great. That's always great when a tool starts charging that is actually also working, because they need to get profitable at some point in order to sustain. And especially for knowledge management, we want to have our data for longer in there, right? So
yeah, and now I understand quick message that I've read before joining this live stream that said that they're working towards changing the invite process for them internally, and they will tell us how it goes right now. And I was kind of confused, and now I understand after you saying that, because I thought that they had opened the thing, but
Yeah,
not.
that's
It seems
exactly
that
what
it's
I
just
thought
for
as
the
well,
people
yeah.
who are invited. Yeah, it was just for the people with invite. Well, no matter, sooner or later, they're gonna be a normal tool talking about accessing. Okay, you just pay and use the thing. The point is that for me, it's amazing how long they are waiting to launch the application, because for me, well, working for 2.5 years, and well, I can work not so many strange and dangerous things when working with the tool. 100% accessible. I mean, I haven't suffered any cuts in the communication, loss of data, and nothing at all. So, and also all the features work properly. But well,
But I think
they
that's
know.
exactly what we talked today about, is the accessibility to the tool. And I think they make a really smart move there before they open the floodgates, that they better get it right with the onboarding and how to find things. And now with the new AI integrations and the transcribing, I see some issues appearing there. So imagine they open the doors, the anticipation is already so high, and so many come in. They only have this one shot for getting reviews, feedback, and all over the place. It's, again, they approach this from like the gaming industry, where they usually always mess up their launches because you're entering a beta phase the moment they launch it. And I always prefer software that is properly done and before they claim their full version. And I think that's their approach. And when we read the comment from one of our members, David, he says a good point there, and I think that's great to further discuss the topic of Tana. David says, I'm extensively using Tana, and there are some issues and text blocks, as you have warned us. I have found a great use case in dicating my thought and using Tana to write it as an article for memo. It is horrible to work with text or transcripts in Tana, and especially the last part, it's horrible to work with text or transcripts in Tana. That's where the subtleties come in, and where an all-in-one application is just not available out there. That's where, when people say, but you're using Tana for everything, but that's not what we are doing, Paco, right? Yep. Those who follow us know we are using Heptabase, Tana, and Reader in combination for our personal knowledge management. When it comes to business knowledge management, it goes even beyond, but that's really crucial. That's where the subtleties come in. We are aware that we would not use Tana to write an article, but it gives you the perfect thought process in there, moving around your thoughts up and down, using just a keyboard. There's nothing faster than using Tana or an outliner in general. And that's why, again, we say don't use Tana as there are other outliners out there that are outliners where you still have the features, but Tana goes just so much beyond. And this is where I think the superpower is in their super tags. It is so easy to categorize any thoughts that you get at the speed of thought, and that's the amazing thing in Tana, I think. Paco, what's your thought on it?
Yes, for sure. Because I was thinking about, because so many VC professionals and members of the community tell us, why don't we create a course like a pro series? Okay, there is a Tana like a pro, because we have ClickUp like a pro and Heptabase like a pro, and it's because we don't believe in tools. I mean, let me explain. We help busy professionals to build their productivity system, no matter the tools they want to use. We have always used the tools as an example to explain the concepts and workflows that we have previously designed, and we think that perfectly explained. Okay, it's just to better understand those concepts and workflows. And in the case of Heptabase, it was because it was the perfect layer 3 for EKM like a pro course. And in the case of ClickUp, it was the perfect tool to explain layer 3 of project management like a pro. We don't see Tana in any place of our like a pro or in our productivity system to better explain the things, okay? Because it's such a specific use case. And also these so wild open tools are quite dangerous, because as you can do anything at all, then everything depends on your setup. And our are busy professionals. They want to get their things done, to manage their knowledge as soon as possible, as easy as possible. And we consider that this type of tools are not recommended for people who don't want to go really deep into a tool and they just want to get the first things, the easiest one, the fastest one, and that's it. Maybe sometimes you need to sacrifice, for instance, betting on a 100% outliner, because most or all busy professionals can live without an outliner, because in fact, most of them have been living and are successful people who never used an outliner. So maybe you can sacrifice and bet on a much simpler tool that allows you to do many other things that we consider that are pretty useful for busy professionals. Like, for instance, moving from text to visual thinking. That's why we double down on Heptabase, because it allows you to run smoothly from that type of thinking, and you can start writing even as simply outlining in Heptabase. Or you can bet on Reflect, for instance, that I think that it's a tool that it's pretty well defined. Little by little, they are niching down into the busy professionals world, because they are combining since the first day, I think, that contacts, calendar with events, meeting notes, the integration of AI. They also have an outliner that I consider that it's well enough, and it allows you to manage all that shallow thinking that is demanded by the busy professional without going into the nitty-gritty of starting a system from scratch like Tana is, okay, where you need to create a structure. I think that the attraction towards Tana goes because people see their implementations and setups that some other people have created, and then you get shocked because it's really impressive, because that shows all the potential of this tool. But the point is that, one, people don't know the type of profile who has created that profile, and two, they don't know how long it took to create that amazing setup. And they go there and then they find just a blank screen with a bullet, okay, and they say, what the heck, and now what? And I think that now what, it's something that we shouldn't recommend to busy professionals. They need to go into a tool with a clear vision of what they are visualizing at that moment, just following their common sense without knowing anything about coding or going into the nitty-gritty of the tools. They need to be as easy and as intuitive as possible. And I think that one of the reasons why Tana hasn't launched yet the release is because they're trying to make it much more easy to digest, okay? Because they are conscious that that's the weakness that they have, and they need to overcome that obstacle, because for a lot of people and a huge part of the market, it's something really difficult. And if you bet on people or companies who has the money but don't have the time, okay, to prepare those setups, then what do you do? No, because you need to make profitable with a lot of people a tool, and if those people are not available to dedicate the time that they need to understand, first off, understand, and secondly, implement and create a setup. I think that that's the famous learning curve that at the end it creates frustration. At the end, you don't need to go, especially busy professionals who are no knowledge worker or people who want to make connections. It's just something quick, fast, that works in any device. For instance, that's something that Tana doesn't do. They have the Tana capture just for capturing too, but at the end, if you want to have access on the go to your knowledge, you cannot at this moment, okay? They are going to release, but they need to release, they need to polish, they need to distill the application. Okay? A lot of steps, okay, before going into that tool. And finally, we do it well because we are nerdies. We love this type of tools. And also, we are the ones who dedicate the time to save the time of our members. Okay, we are the ones. That's why we recommend this type of pieces of advice, because we have suffered that. We have gone through that. We are talking about more than 2 years using a tool daily at our level of knowledge. So at the end, I think that our conclusions more or less can be useful for our people.
Yeah, that's really important what you said there. And I just had an interview with Sam from Reflect. Very interesting insights there, and it's insane what they added on features, especially AI. In fact, they've been the first having voice recording to get an AI transcription directly in your note-taking app. That's something they had. The Tana capture is something they had already before Tana was a thing. And now they really, when we talk about MEM, this is, you will hear it in the interview there, but MEM is really having a hard time seeing what Reflect is putting out there when it comes to the AI integration, how smart they integrated the privacy and all this. So that's another thing about this interview. But David now also says, I dropped Reflect for Tana. And we remember when he joined the Inner Circle that he was using Reflect in the beginning. Would you allow them to coexist coexist in your tech stack, Paco? Would you allow them to coexist in your tech stack, Paco? And Tom, I will just add there because I tried to reply in the name of Paco. I would say Paco says no, and I say this too, because we focus on shallow thinking versus deep thinking and being clear where to do what thought process, what tools. So thinking about Reflect versus Tana or besides Tana, I would already start struggling to understand where should I now go to place my shallow thinking. So always try to double down on one tool. Now let's get Paco to say the answer if I was about right with the alignment there.
No, I agree. I think that they are 100% competitors and you have to bet on one because if not, I cannot see a use case where you can, because for instance, I perfectly see that Tana and Heptabase, for instance, they are complementary. I mean, you can start creating the outline and the backbone of your thought and then move to visual thinking or long text format. I think that that's something that complement one to each other. Also, the outlining experience in Heptabase is horrendous, okay, literally horrendous. And the point is that in Reflect is just the opposite. I think that the outlining experience is not so bad. In fact, I consider an outliner, okay. And the point is that all the add-ons that they have created as features, okay, not without plugins, you just, by the way, I have to say that chapeau for Reflect because they just offer the yearly subscription. And I think that that's something to admire. It's a tough move, okay, because it's just a bet on their product and also engage the people to bet on a tool for a whole year. That I think that's, well, it's worth considering that strategy, talking about marketing. And I think that, well, that says a lot about how they trust their company, how they are evolving.
I want to add here, because that's an interesting topic that you're just approaching there. Out of the interview with Sam, he shared that they're already profitable since last year and they are not depending on venture capital. That was very important for them because they don't want to go into the B2B. They want to focus on what they really are about. And I think that says it all, that with this subscription strategy that they have, that they are still profitable, that there are so many people that bet on this. That's really saying that it is a proper tool that you can trust on.
And the speed
hashtag not sponsored. That's the thing. We are independent at Paperless Movement. We can say whatever we want. And if they mess up, then they will mess up and we will say that as well.
Yeah, no, but it's impressive how they are releasing new features. Their release pace, I think that it's, well, impressive. I think it's solid. Also, they bet a lot in the mobile experience too. And they also dedicate a lot of effort talking about performance and feeling safe and sound, no crashes. I think that it's a pretty well established tool that has removed a lot of the noise and the open things that some others are offering as a strength, because at the moment that you don't get that as a strength and for you it's an obstacle, then it doesn't make any sense. All those additional features that most of the users are never going to use, and that's the point of our target niche and our audience. Those are people who just want to get done as much as possible, no matter if it's action or information. And setting up a tool, it's something that is nonsense, okay? It's nonsense. And that's why Reflect, I think that covers a lot of many things without all the overcomplicated things that some of the tools like Tana or Obsidian or many others who give the user the possibility of customize to an amazing level. Okay, for me, it's so amazing that most of the people don't need that type of customization to being done by their own. And I think that those type of tools that are simple and easy to use, that's why those Heptabase, Todoist, even Sansama, those are tools that you don't have any friction at all. Okay, the moment that you get introduced into the tool, you perfectly understand, and just in a matter of hours or days, you are using it. I think that that's a huge value talking about a tool.
I think it's important to mention now the key problem, because now we got very close to this. Now, Reflect. Now, listeners or viewers or members in the chat, they think, okay, so now let's use Reflect. But the key is here, don't think about using Reflect for everything in your productivity system. That's what we teach in iCore, how to build your productivity system, understanding the different tools, how they interact with each other, realizing the friction points between the tools, and then make informed decisions on what additional tools you need in order to expand your system to make it even more efficient. And you will see, if you just use Reflect, you will hit a wall, because at some point you need this visual representation or maybe proper databases. And these tools like Tana, they give you the feeling they can do it all. I just have to figure it out how to set up properly. I just have to watch another Tana course in order to realize how to get the perfect template that works for me for everything. But in the end of the day, if you just narrow it down to it's not possible to do simple text formatting in Tana, there you go. What do you do then? Then you say, man, there's nothing again. Then you look for another tool, I don't know, capacities or whatever. And you have to say, okay, there's formatting. I can have hashtags. I have kind of databases. So you have the feeling it's better because you focus just on the missing feature. You move everything to the new tool. And that's the wrong step. Realizing the friction points, things that are really missing in the tool, and then seek another tool that excels on the missing features and add this to your tool stack. And then, well, when it comes to moving information from one tool to another, this is all that you learn in the ICO methodology. Understanding that you don't have duplicated information in two different tools. You just define what type of information lives in what tool. You learn how to link information together so you easily can switch from one tool to another. Well, that would be a whole other episode that we can talk about this. But that's the key takeaway from this. Tana won't be enough. Reflect won't be enough. And to give you the final answer that probably everybody has on their mind now, will you now switch to Reflect? Paco, neither. We won't switch to Reflect now because we are nerds and we are leveraging Tana that goes beyond what Reflect has to offer. But for, I would bet, 95% of our Busy Professionals members, Reflect would be more than enough for what it should be used for in context when it comes to work. Really getting things done, how to quickly take meeting notes, how to recall these meeting notes quickly, and then move them into the BKM, the Business Knowledge Management System, to share it with the team. And well, that's again another topic that we could talk about in the next podcast. Paco, any final words to this?
Yeah. Well, no, that at the end it's the same conclusion, and there are always walls in front of you. They will appear sooner or later. Okay, any tool has strength and weaknesses, and that's why we don't bet in that approach of one app or one tool for everything, because it's impossible if you just bet on one tool for everything. That's why we design and develop the iCore framework, why put in there all your tools, you can see your gaps, redundancy, and at the end of the process that we have delivered using the iCore journey, you end up with the perfect tool stack that has no gaps, no redundancy, and you are taking the best out of each tool without falling into those weaknesses. And we have seen success story in our membership using, for instance, Google environment or Microsoft environment, because there are many people who are stuck there because of the company, because they have no choice, and it doesn't matter. Okay, that's why it's the most important thing are always concepts and workflows. And at the end, you will find, especially nowadays, any tool that can perform any of your workflows without any problem, without friction, and taking the best out of the tool and out of your workflow and your productivity. And that's what matters.
Yeah. And talking about this, Paco just mentioned with Microsoft, there was in the last cohort as well, where we helped an Inner Circle cohort member to set up their Microsoft system, as she wasn't allowed to use anything else, perfectly to work with the team, because Microsoft has it all there, Google has it all there. You just have to understand how to combine the tools that they offer to you to make it as effective as possible. So if you're interested to have coaching with Paco and me directly, then the doors are open for the next cohort in July. So if you haven't already, go ahead. There are 6 slots where you can pick one, and then we help you with your productivity system to make it highly efficient and iron out these friction points between your different tools. Until then, we catch you up in the next session. Bye bye.
Okay, see you guys.